Yo, what it do, 2K fans? It's your boy JuKIng the Boss, and first of all, I want to say thank you. We hit 50 new subscribers in the first 24 hours after the last video went, and then I think we added another 50 the next 24 hours after that. So 100 new subscribers in just 2 days. I love it. I enjoy it. Thank you for all the new subscribers, and for the OG subscribers, of course, thank you for being here as long as you have. I hope we can continue this ride and continue having fun. But today we're going to jump into this new MyPlayer builder. I really did have fun with it, and so I want to give you some tips and tricks as we're going through the first build that I made. Now, this screen you see right here, this is the skills breakdown pie chart. Now, you already know that when you want to make your build, you first have to choose your primary or your more dominant traits that you want to be. So you got 4 categories to choose from: finishing, shooting, playmaking, defense, and rebounding. Now, and I wanted to make sure that since I'm building a point guard, I had to make a build that had playmaking, could play defense, and also either be able to finish inside or have a good shot. So the first one I went with was, of course, playmaking and defense are the big dogs of it. But it did give me great finishing ability at the same time. As you can see, these stats, really high ratings for close shot, driving layup, drive and dunk, really high playmaking ratings, really high defensive ratings for playing perimeter D. Shot ratings are good enough for me because I can always add boost in the full game. So then we get to the physical profile. Now, for the physical profile, if you don't know, these things choose what your physical attributes will end up being, which is your speed, acceleration, strength, and vertical. So this pie chart was important to me because I did have to figure out where do I really want him to excel in the physical stature. And it boiled down to, after checking everything out, I said, all right, I'm going to go with one that really highlights speed, acceleration, and vertical. I said I didn't really need strength because I was going to make some changes to the build as we progress through the creation that would help balance out the strength. Most of the players that play the game, they might play online, they might play park, and when they create point guards, they want such high speed that they create lighter players. And this, I never create lighter players because I do want to make sure that I can handle my own. So I did go with the agility and vertical combination, which gave me 94 speed, 92 acceleration, and 95 vertical with only 57 strength. But we'll be able to balance that out as we progress forward. Now, as you can see, I'm setting my attribute upgrades all around. And in the first category I added it was my playmaking. I wanted my pass accuracy and my ball handles to be maxed out. And then the next thing I did, I focused on my defense, perimeter defense, lateral quickness, steals, and blocks. Those were the 4 main focuses of my defense that I needed to make sure that I touched up on and added as much to. Now, the next thing I went and looked at was, after balancing around, I played around with offensive and defensive rebounding to see how many badge upgrades I would be adding if I upgrade those as well. But as you can see, my playmaking badge upgrades is already at 20, so I can essentially have 20 bronze badges, or I can have roughly around what's that 4 or 5 silver, 4 or 5 gold badges, or 4 or 5 Hall of Fame badges, something like that. So the next thing I looked at was my shooting ability. My mid-range is my most important thing of being able to shoot. I don't shoot threes as often. And of course, my free throw, I needed to make sure that was all the way maxed out. Now, of course, under finishing, I maxed out the top 3: close shot, driving layup, and driving dunk. So that way I can finish somewhere. Those abilities are maxed out high enough so that way I'll be able to unlock some really good packages for layups. I'll be able to unlock some really good packages for dunks. So that was perfect for me. Now, I went back with the points I had left and I applied them to defensive rebounding and a few to offensive rebounding, maxing out my perimeter defense as well. So this is the final look of the basis of the build. Now, when it comes into changing the height, the weight, and the wingspan, I always focus on having a 6'4" height, but I do look at the other numbers because you never know if something's worth kind of losing to gain something bigger in another area. I was tempted to go with a 6'5" height, mainly because I would have had a plus 14 on my block, and that would have put my block up to 80. But I thought about that and realized that if I got some boost, I'm gonna get plus 10 anyway, so I'm gonna go up to 83 instead of having to lose something else to gain that. But ball handle stays at 87, and that's gonna change again because, of course, after the weight, you didn't change your wingspan. Now for the weight, I did go 205. I always go 205. It's like a Bradley Beal, John Wall blend weight. And as you can see, when I did the max wingspan, I only lost a few points on ball handles, but it's still way higher than 70, which means that if the game's still the same from 2K19 when it comes down to the moves unlocked, I should still be able to get pro level dribble moves for this build. Now, the last thing I had a real big issue with was which takeover I was going to go with. I went with the wrong one. I ended up going with the slasher. I should have went with the lockdown defender because I would have much preferred to have the boost in the defensive category when I activated it rather than offensive. But as you can see, I created a two-way slash and playmaker, Steve Francis, John Wall, Russell Westbrook kind of build, and I was thoroughly impressed. Now for this part right here, when I was testing overall, this isn't going to be my first build. This isn't going to be my dominant build. So this build I tested at 99 because I wanted to see what the potentials were. If I'm going to create this build, what are the potentials if I'm playing this game a lot? And you know, I'm not too mad at how this build turned out. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But let's look into what my badges were. In each category, I kind of blended my badges pretty well, not using too many gold badges, mainly bronze and silver badges, so I can have more badges to help effectively make my game better in certain areas. So you can pause any one of them to see which badges I chose. For shooting, I only had 5 points. So I chose 5 bronze badges: clutch shooter, dead eye, difficult shots, flexible release, and steady shooter. These builds, those badges right there were perfect. For my playmaking, gold ankle breaker, gold diamond. Then we had silver downhill, bronze flashy passer, silver floor general, bronze handle for days, which is a badge I probably would never use ever because I don't dribble that much. And then when you got your defense, I went with quite a few gold badges. And then of course you gotta have your chase down artist, your tireless defender. These two badges were dominant for me. And so let's get into the gameplay. Now that you see what it takes to build that two-way slash and playmaker at the point guard, feel free to play around with those numbers and see if you can get an even better version of the two-way slash and playmaker. But in the game, there was only one issue I was having, and that was I was playing like I was playing 2K19. I mean, as you can see, I was sliding around screens really well. And then right here, you see D'Angelo Russell hit a fake turnaround, dish it inside. I had him locked. I don't know why my man decided that he needed to help me on defense. Clay doing what Clay do, but he missed the shot, and you already see what I'm doing right there. Watch the. This is where vertical came into handy. No over the back foul call or nothing like that. I just threw that away. Now I did get a little boost up off his shoulder, but that's all right though. Kick it to me inside, catch me going, give me an easy dunk. One thing about having a slash, they are allowing you to test it with some really good dunk animations, not just the basic animations. It seems as though the build is, at least when it comes down to finishing animations, they're playing with the finishing animations. You see the turnaround? I just missed it. That was just terrible. And then watch the finish right there. Boom, with the alley-oop, throwing it down. So it seems that though when you're testing your build with slashers, they are allowing you to test it with some better animations compared to the level of animations that they can get. And so I did get to have some fun with this build. But as you can see, I'm no dribbler. I got to work on it. I got to get in the gym. If I'm going to create a point guard build, I got to work on it. But I love the way I played the passing lane right there. Took off, got me a nice little dunk. Now what this build, as you continue to watch this footage, what this build is for me is, it's a build that I can play in ProAM with. I can play in the MyCareer with. This build could be harmful for you. You saw the move he caught me with, didn't even break my ankle. He just lost me because I was trying to play. I tried to cut him off. Now, the reason why I feel like this build could harm me in Park is because as great as this build is for me, the lower level shooting is the one thing that can hurt me because I usually surround myself with some good players when it comes down to being able to score. Okay, so when it comes down to my core group that I play with, they're usually able to score, and so I usually play great defense. So when it comes down to a point guard, we've always had a problem with being able to check the point guard. That's because I've never played point guard. Now, if I'm playing point guard, I think I can do a pretty good job at checking other points. Now, this is another thing I did, like I wanted to show y'all this, is you ever remember in 2K19, 2K18, you go up by 20 and they sub you out, and when you sim the sub back in, they all of a sudden they up by 15. You was just up by 20. Like, when did y'all let that happen in 3 minutes? And so now I like the way that looks, because now you can see like who's out there messing up, who's out there just allowing buckets. So I like that. But this build is a good build for me at point guard. That was traveling, but I ain't gonna say nothing if y'all won't. This build is a good build for me at point guard. I dropped 30. I enjoyed this build. Like I said, this might be a build for you. This might not be a build for you. The goal of this series of videos is really just to show you how my thought process goes when it comes down to creating a build. And hopefully you can take that lingo and find a way to utilize it to create your perfect build. Play the way you want to play how you want to play.